don't have the same opportunity like men do. But hopefully we would get the same opportunity like our male counterparts do. But thankfully, some organizations, including the IITA, have made up strategies that will include women in agricultural sector more. One of the strategy is that the capacity building has to start from when they are very, very young. They have developed so much program like the Youth Agripreneur that gives the younger ones opportunity to delve into agriculture right from when they were young. And in their recruitment processes, they always encourage women to apply. I think all this is going to fill in the gap of the business, is going to fill in the gap of women that are being relegated behind as opposed to the men. And everybody will agree that all the speakers, they were in tandem with the fact that without women, nothing can be noticed, because we are the labor force. So our team, the team of this program that was said to be capacity building for women in agriculture and smallholder farmers, I think we'll agree with our Dr. Dashin that I said it should be building capacity building for women in agriculture as smallholder farmers, because we are the smallholder farmers, we are the labor force, we are the ones to reckon with when it gets to agriculture. So, well, it is just important and pertinent to know that we should get more of the finances, we should get more of the seed, we should be involved in decision making when it gets to agriculture. And I hope after this program, the policy brief, women would be involved more in everything that has to do with agricultural sector, so as to have a balance and a perfect role in the agricultural sector when it comes to women. And I welcome you once again to this day 2. It promises to be exciting and interesting, like I said, and please stay with us. Thank you for listening. So now we'll move on to the next program, which is the flash presentation of some abstracts. It's going to be a video presentation, flash presentation of abstracts. You're going to be seeing the presentations on your screens now. Okay, Dr. Felicia, please. Okay. Oh. Thank you so much. The abstracts will come on later into the program. But now we'll be listening to the TED Talk. Now we'll be listening to the TED Talk video from Mrs. Mojisola Karigadi. Mrs. Mojisola Karigadi is a doctoral fellow at the University of Ibadan here in Abeokuta, and she's also an Howard Fellow. Mrs. Mojisola Karigadi, surprisingly, she's a biochemist. She was a biochemist turned a farmer or an agriculturist. Our journey or our sojourn to the agricultural sector is a very unique one, and she has explained everything in the TED Talk, the video we are about to see. Please listen to Mrs. Mojisola Karigadi. Thank you.
She looked at me and said, "So what do you want to do with biochemistry after you graduate?" And I was completely lost. I'd never given it a thought. So I said, I haven't figured it out yet. And she was like, "Okay, so why don't you think about doing something in line with agriculture?" And I was like, agriculture? I had ruled that out a long time ago. I quickly remembered how back then in high school, we had the school farm, and we would go very early in the morning to do the wetting and weeding of the vegetables. Even in the afternoon, we had to peep through the classroom window to be sure that there was nobody stealing the vegetables. I don't want to go through all that anymore. So she smiled and looked at me more closely and was like, "You see, I'm a microbiologist, but I also help women farmers get rid of mycotoxins in their products. You can give it a second thought." And I did just that. So what could I possibly do with biochemistry? And then I thought about developing alternatives to the currently used pesticides. This is so much needed because in developing countries, including Nigeria, where I come from, farmers are mostly uneducated in rural areas. And so they find it very difficult to follow the instructions on pesticide labels, especially when there's an outbreak of a disease or a pest, they end up spraying indiscriminately. And of course, this has implications for both health and the environment. So I decided to do some more research, and I found out that about 40% of cowpeas is lost as a result of insect pest attack and storage. Farmers lose a huge portion of their profit as a result. So I decided to design a pet project in this line. And so, on one occasion, working with my mentor, a professor of botany, I saw that in that community, people planted herbs and shrubs around their homes. I initially thought they were just for decorative purposes until I asked, and then they said, oh, this one cures malaria, this one prevents measles, this takes care of leprosy. So I pointed to the lemongrass, and they said, oh, that one repels reptiles, snakes, and the likes. I felt really fascinated. Wow, if it could actually repel reptiles, it might be able to get rid of smaller insects like weevils. So I decided to do some work on the plants in the laboratory. When I put in for my master's, it became a lot clearer, and I formed a team of 4, and we began to see what we could do with the plants. We tried a number of things, including blending the leaves and then treating infested beans with it. Of course, that did not work, because instead of the weevils dying, they were actually healthy and stronger. Of course, it was a medicinal plant. What did we expect? Okay, so I felt, let's try something else. What about extracting the bioactive components of the plants? And that was what we did. We had the option of using solvents like ethanol and hexane, which we did. The result was good, but I wasn't so comfortable with the idea of solvents because it meant that the solvent had some impact on the result and not just the plant. So I thought of going for a distillation process using water. And we did that and obtained the distillate. So we treated infested beans with different doses of the distillate. And we obtained about 100% weevil mortality in just 1 hour of exposure. That was fantastic for us. So we thought about it. If it could actually get rid of the weevils, how about the eggs? And so we designed another group where we didn't have the weevils, but beans with the eggs on them. So we treated that with the distillate and then incubated for some days, after which we checked. And alas, the eggs didn't hatch into adults. So that means that our distillate had 100% weevil and egg mortality within 1 hour of exposure. So that felt really exciting for us. And then I thought about it. How about strengthening the effect of the distillate? So I thought of incorporating some other botanicals like the hyssop, lime, and orange peels, through the same process. And that really worked. So we needed a second opinion, and then we sent samples to a public analyst and to the Stored Product Research Institute. They gave us fantastic results, and they were really excited. Oh, this works so well. We've not been having something like this. We've not had combos in the past, and this is really good. So because we were excited by the result, we decided to do large-scale testings, get it across to the farmers who need them. On one occasion, working with the farmers, we located a particular community
from Mrs. Moji Karigada's TED Talk, we could all see that with good mentorship and confidence, we can achieve what we want to achieve as women without having, without believing in the myth that women are less intelligent than men. She stuck to the advice of a lecturer, of a mentor, and she went for it and she got a very good result. And I hope we all would follow suit in our footsteps, and with good mentorship we can achieve what we want to achieve, because yes, we can. The rest of the TED Talk, you can please go to view it on YouTube, TED Talk, and just type in Moji Karigadi TED Talk, you would find it there. Now would listen to the success story of a rural farmer from Ondo State. Her name is Olori Adenike Omole, Olori Adenike Omole is a very successful farmer from Ondo State, and she's the wife of the king of Ilade community from Ondo State. She grows cocoa, seedlings, palm tree seedlings, yam. She's into yam cultivation, carrots, cucumber, and many more vegetables that she eats and she sells. And she also has a palm oil processing factory, and she's a woman that is really striving out in the agricultural sector, and it has been a benefit to our household and the entire community. Please listen to Olori Adenike talk about her success story into the agricultural sojourn.
My name is Olori Adenike Agomale. I'm native of Italy.
So what are the things that inspired you to go into agriculture? Kí ni àwọn nǹkan tó jẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ tó wù ẹ́?
Yes. When I finished my secondary school, the first thing that came to my mind, I need my dad that come and give me the one that carried the yam. Give that place, I plant maize. I just looked at this thing, it's okay. But after, when I married, I said to Federal College of Agriculture, I should go and learn for this work that I show you that is why I love it.
It's actually a good occupation.
Apart from this one, that I show you that I know how to plant watermelon. Even include with carrots.
Carrots.
Yes, they train me.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for staying with us. We can see that even if we are told we couldn't, we can't. Yes, we can. Judging from Olori Adenike's story, she had it in her and she went for it. Now we'll quickly go to the video was transcribed by Ms. Kemi Bada. Thank you so much for transcribing the video. Now we go into our keynote talk. We have exciting and experienced speakers today. The first speaker is Mrs. or Dr. The first speaker is Dr. Rhoda Peace Tumosima. She was the former African Union Commissioner for Rural Economic and Agriculture, and she's also the chairperson of HOPE. She has a very vast experience on the field of trade and regional cooperation. She has served as one of the SIGA board of CIP in IITA, and she's also a member of the African Fertilizer and Agribusiness. She has partnership with she's in the board of trustees where she serves as the chair. She's also a member of Malabo Montpellier panel. She has previously served 2 times as the African Union Commissioner for the Rural Economic and Agriculture from 2008 to 2017. She has successfully oversaw the growth of agriculture through the implementation of an acceptable continental framework. She is a strong advocate for women empowerment, agriculture transformation through modernization. She is also involved in poverty eradication, food and nutrition security, and job creation. She's a firm believer in the inclusion of youth and women in agribusinesses value chains through establishment of incubation and innovation centers to promote agricultural commercialization. Dr. VOWDA will be speaking on women, environment, and agriculture. Please welcome Dr. Peace Rhoda Tumesime. Dr. Rhoda, please, can you unmute yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. You were not, the host was not allowing me, that's why it took long. And I must say that I'm excited to join the group. I thank you so much for organizing this important meeting. The gathering is quite exciting. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, Dr. Rhoda, please, could you please turn on your video?
No, I will not, because the challenges that I have for, I've had very bad connection with you people. I don't know what's happening.
Okay,
And
no
I'll send my points maybe later, because I cannot even screen them now. So, according to my topic, as you have heard, I think it is important that this meeting reflect on this topic, especially at the time when the leaders of the world will be meeting quite soon to look at the challenges of climate change. And so coinciding with it's about 2 weeks or so to go. So I think we need to know that climate change is a challenge, and climate change immediately, indirectly impacts on environment. Then also, the importance of women and smallholders, especially in agriculture. And therefore, it is extremely important that as we celebrate the World Food Day, which is tomorrow, but also today being an important day to remember the contribution of family farmers. So I'm happy that you are able to contribute, to hold this important gathering. In Africa and most of the world, agriculture depends heavily on the weather, as you know. Therefore, we have to look at what we can do, and the weather is, of course, directly affecting the environment. And globally, about 80% of the world is produced by family farms. So, and that's the UN is the one which makes that reference of 80%. So the empirical data, I got it from the UN report. Now, the current trend of non-reversible trend of greenhouse emissions is also hurting the vulnerable people. And the vulnerable people happen to be women and smallholders, those who are in agriculture. So as we celebrate this important day tomorrow and also today, we need to reflect more on what Africa can do, especially with regard to climate change. For us, we may not be in a position to control it, since we are not the ones who are doing that, but the responsible people, we need to call upon them. Now, when you look at globally, the numbers at a glance in relation to the SDGs, about 30 to 60% of the population is employed in agriculture. And for the country which I live in, which is Uganda, 68% of women in Uganda are employed in agriculture. Those are big numbers. So being employed in agriculture, it means we have to look at the environment they work in. And as you know, agriculture is very critical, especially with poverty and hunger as a factor, because you find that very many people in Africa depend on agriculture, and therefore you cannot be able to eat, or you cannot be able to go to hospital unless you are getting money from agriculture. So for money and also for food, for nutrition and everything is got from agriculture, more or less, especially in the rural areas. Now, IFPRI estimates that by 2050, the global maize production will shrink by 24%. So if you reflect and look at what 24% will mean, especially for the women and for the children of Africa who depend more entirely on maize. So it is a big challenge, and we have to ensure that we are effective in whatever we are doing. So the environment remains a key asset in supporting increasing productivity because it is directly related to climate change. And in the process of having negative climate change in Africa, you find that the environment gets degraded. It impacts on gender. There's a lot of land challenges, and especially for women. Women are pushed to marginal land. And also you find that especially there is low productivity, and this retards economic development generally, because you can imagine that now the women produce most of the food for the rural areas and also most of the food for the urban areas. So if the environment and climate change are not tamed, we shall have a big challenge. Climate change has been a real threat. And you find that the inequalities of women and girls and the time they spend in the rural area is increasing day by day, but also the food which they are getting on the land is decreasing. Therefore, that is why, as we try to capacitate women, as we try to capacitate smallholder farmers, we need to look at how do we increase productivity? How do we get these people get more food from the land? We need to look at modern technology, and the modern technology which we can get is definitely increasing modern use of modern seeds, but then accessibility. We need to look at the input-output markets. Unless the women are able, the women smallholders are able to access the right inputs at the right time, and also they get the right information, especially with regard to extension. So all those are very, very critical for women as we try to capacitate. But on a more important and serious issue, we have to look at the policies. The policies, the strategies for capacity building must interconnect the three tiers. The three tiers is gender, productivity, and environment. Those are very, very critical if we want to get the women and the smallholders get enough money, get enough food, and also be able to live honorably. all these days we have been looking at the agricultural food systems. You know, agriculture is the foundation of the entire food system. But then it requires the marketing infrastructure, which is going to stimulate production. And many of the rural people, especially women and smallholders, are finding it difficult to market. They are finding it difficult to get proper standards kept because they don't access proper services. The rural infrastructure, the cold storage facilities are not available. So the impact of climate change, the impact of environmental degradation requires proper policy, requires proper strategies, and requires that the women also participate in those areas. Then we have to look at the wetlands, which are very critical, and the areas where women have got to access cheap and affordable irrigation technologies. But then how do they do that? So they require that women must get the proper technologies, access the irrigation technologies. That means they need money. Women don't have the money. So the money is also very, very critical. So financing projects for women and sustainably, not coming in just today and tomorrow, those are very, very important. Because we need to ensure that the women are able to get what they deserve. Then at the household level, the women require innovations, which may not be farm-based, but then they need to be supported as well. They can have backyard garden in order to have access to good food and also income security. So the backyard gardens are very, very critical for each and every woman, for the smallholders, and also they need to have customized model financial services and products, which are very, very important. So as I conclude, I'd like to say that agriculture will help in reducing poverty and hunger. Agriculture will help in improving diets and reduce non-communicable diseases, of course, because once you eat well, you are able to get to continue becoming healthy. Agriculture will help respond to climate change and sustain natural resource base. And agriculture will, of course, provide empowerment and economic opportunities. So we all agree that agriculture is at the base of a wider food system that must transform. So it supports improved health whilst nurturing our natural environment. Although we know that the women are most likely to be affected by poorly functioning food systems, but they are also most likely to positively transform them as long as they are able to access information about the same. So empowering and investing in female farmers has been shown that it increases farm productivity. Actually, it helps a lot. It raises total agricultural output in most cases between 2 and 4%. It reduces hunger and malnutrition. It improves health. It improves rural livelihoods. So we would like to see women in leadership. Would like to see women becoming entrepreneurs, and also would like to see women accessing innovations which are required, especially with a functioning food system. And this will drive the sustainable intensification of agriculture. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Rhoda Peace, for the very insightful presentation on environment, women and agriculture, because Dr. Roda made it clear to us that climate change is a cause of concern in the agricultural sector, and women are directly involved with it because they are being pushed to the marginal lands. And for all these problems to be solved, women has to be equipped with finances, with a lot of finances and modernization tools, modern tools that will help them have access to irrigation. Even at home, the climate or the nature has taken a course, they would be able to improvise and do the needful so as to provide better food for the rural communities and also the urban communities. And she also made it clear that there are some factors that are responsible, that for some factors has to be looked into if we want to achieve this sustainable agriculture, especially for women. We have to look at the gender, we have to look at the productivity, and of course, environment is one of them. So having a good environment for women in agriculture to farm, to produce their food is very pertinent. So as to make food go around, so as to eliminate poverty, to eliminate hunger, and to eliminate communicable diseases, because she said when we eat good food, communicable diseases would not have cause to visit the old, the young, and people at large. But thank you so much, Dr. Peace Roda, for the very, very insightful presentation. We hope when we call upon you next time, you'll respond to us. Thank you so much, ma. We appreciate it. Now we'll move to another presentation from the My Talk South people. They'll be talking on My Talk South, the capacity building for young African scientists. And this will be taken by no other than Professor Sarah Desega. Professor Sarah Desega is the head of the Center of Excellence in Mycotoxicology and Public Health, and she's a full professor at Ghent University in Belgium. She's also the coordinator of the International Thematic Network, the My Talk South, and she was just elected as the president of International Society of Mycotoxicology. Professor Desega has established joint laboratory of mycotoxin in Ghent University, and she has publications. She has numerous publications in peer-reviewed journals. But unfortunately, Professor Desega might not be doing justice to this topic herself. She will be ably represented by Dr. Celine Mapo. Dr. Celine Mapo obtained PhD from the Center of Excellence in Mycotoxicology and Public Health under the tutelage of Professor Sarah Desega. Dr. Celine also investigated the occurrence of mycotoxin citrins in various food and feedstuff, and also the risk of human and animal health. Dr. Celine is all about mitigation of mycotoxins, aflatoxins, and so in food and feed. And she'll be talking on the capacity building for young African scientists. Dr. Celine Mapo, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Celine, please, could you put on your video?
Yes, I'm sorry, now it's on.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. All participants, please, you can drop your questions in the chat box. Would answer to them after the presentation. Thank you.
So you can see my presentation now?
Yes, we can, Dr. Celine.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm very happy that I can represent Professor Sarah Desega today. And I will talk about mycotox salts. And the presentation will go about capacity building for young African scientists. So mycotoxins were already mentioned today. So they are very toxic secondary metabolites produced by several fungi, and they can occur in a variety of foodstuffs like maize, cereals, but also cheese, fruits, and so on. And actually, this is a global problem, And also in Africa, there is a big mycotoxin problem. And Mycotox South wants to face this global problem by using an international approach. So we established Mycotox South in Ghent University in Belgium at the Center of Excellence in Mycotoxicology and Public Health. And we want to create partnerships with countries all over the world to work together and to tackle the mycotoxin problem. So I will briefly present the coordination team at Ghent University. So Professor Sarah de Sager is a well-known professor in the mycotoxin world, and she coordinates Mycotox South together with Professor Marthe de Bouvre. Myself, I am the operations manager, so I'm in charge of the communication with all participants. And we also have Professor Carol Lachat, who is a nutrition and health expert. Our other partners are spread around the world. So we have partnerships with Italy, Shanghai, Madrid, the United States, and also the European Commission, as you can see. And also in the South, we have a lot of partnerships. So they are all represented here in this slide. I will not go through everyone, but you can see that we have already a lot of partnerships with African countries. And also Nigeria is represented in our Mycotox South partnership. But I think it's easier to show a video because images and video can tell more than I can present today. So I hope I can play this video so you can all see what our story is. If it's not working, please tell me, then I will just continue.
Okay. Dr. Silene, please, could you increase the volume?
The volume?
Yes, please.
Volume.
Volume of the video.
It's okay like this?
No, volume. You can share the.
Okay.
Share the video.
You can please share the video.
You can't hear sound. Ask
Okay.
for sound.
Okay, the sound. Dr. Silene, the sound.
Yeah, I cannot change it on my slide.
On your side.
Can't you share it?
Okay.
Maybe I'll just continue and I put the link to the video so you can watch it afterwards.
Please do.
A
Thank
good
you.
idea? Okay, I will put the link in the chat and you can also see it on the slide. It's mytoxouth.org. So you can find the video over there. But I will continue for now, okay? So the aim of Mycotox South is threefold. We want to educate and train young students and scientists from middle and low income countries. And we want to build capacity through co-creation. Next, we also want to create awareness around the world by creating networks and partnerships. And third, we want to conduct research and develop innovative technologies, suitable mitigation strategies. So let me first go through the education and training. So we invited a lot of students from all our partners to our lab, and we tried to educate them about analytical techniques, about mycotoxins, and so on. So they have the experience to conduct research on their own. So we invite students to our lab, but we also go to other countries to explain the mycotoxin problem. We also have a lot of memoranda of understanding, and we are happy that we also have this agreement with VOWDA. And you can see that we have a lot of understandings around the world with African countries, but also Chinese countries and South American countries. So what we do is we also invite researchers for traineeships, and it goes from 1 to 6 months. And then we really educate them in a practical way in our lab. So you can see the students that we have met already. This is a very nice experience, both for us, but also for the students. So we can network and share our experience in mycotoxin analysis and mitigation strategies. Next, we also want to create awareness. So, for example, we went to Cuba, Ecuador, Zimbabwe, and we talked about the mycotoxin problem in several countries. And we also provided solutions on how to work on the mycotoxin problem in the future. Here you see pictures from our farmers lab in Soweto, South Africa, in Johannesburg. And there we also did 2 days on education of mycotoxin mitigation strategies, mycotoxin analysis in Johannesburg. It was very successful, and we hope that we can continue this in the future once the COVID pandemic comes to an end. Here we spread our message on the World Mycotoxin Forum in Belfast a few years ago. And it's also important to mention that the Food and Toxicology Research Group of the Federal University of Technology in Mina, together with Mytox South, were awarded to establish the African Center of Excellence for Mycotoxin and Food Safety. So the creation of this center will create learning opportunities and research results to address Africa's shortage of expertise and applicable solutions to ensure a safe, controlled, and sufficient food supply that will support economic growth and public health. So this is a very ambitious project, and we are happy to cooperate with this from Mytox South. And the coordination is handled by Professor Hussaini Makou. Here is an example of our trade mission in Nigeria. So about the awareness creation, we really want to go to the policymakers and try to spread the word on the mycotoxin problem so they can implement strategies in their own country to tackle this problem. Here's some other pictures. Another collaboration that we are very proud of is the collaboration with the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. So it's a knowledge center of global food and nutrition security. And with this cooperation, we want to ensure food security and mitigate risk from unsafe foods in low and middle income countries. So we want to enhance knowledge collection and distribution. So we will attend webinars and spread the message of the mycotoxin problem. We also are involved in communication and dissemination. So this is a very nice collaboration, and I'm also looking forward to working further on this. Then a very important thing I want to say is that we will, together with the African Society of Mycotoxicology, we will organize a conference. It's supposed to be in September 2020, but it's postponed to September 2022. So you are all very welcome to join this conference, and more information you can find on our website. Then lastly, Mytox South also aims to conduct research and develop innovative technologies in terms of suitable mitigation strategies. And the key topics are analytical methods for mycotoxin determination, surveys on mycotoxin occurrence and mycotoxigenic fungi diversity, biomonitoring studies to assess human mycotoxin exposure, influence of traditional food processing and binders on modified mycotoxins, and the identification and toxicological assessment of Aspergillus flavus resistant local maize varieties. And as you can see, we have a lot of cooperations with African countries. A short word on the MycoSafe South. This is also an organization to provide safe use options for aflatoxins and fumonisin contaminated food for children and adults through means of safe and efficient post-harvest intervention strategies, including nixtamalization, dehulling, fermentation and the usage of mycotoxin binders and modifiers investigated via in vitro and in vivo studies. And this is also a 1 million project to tackle the mycotoxin issue in Africa. And MyToxOut is happy to collaborate with this. And the coordination is by Professor Siska Kroepels and Gunther Antonissen from Ghent University. So I talked about collaborations with Africa mostly, but I also want to mention that we also have collaborations with Latin America, as you can see here. So we are cooperating with Argentina, Cuba, and Ecuador for the moment, and also with Southeast Asian countries, for example, Vietnam. So you can see Vietnamese students who visited our lab before the COVID pandemic, and it was really nice to educate them in the mycotoxin world. So I want to thank you on behalf of Professor Sarah de Sager that we could present MyToxOut here today. And I'm very happy to answer questions if there are any. Thank you.
So many collaborations has been going on with Africa, especially Nigeria and other African countries. Thank you so much on the enlightenment about mycotoxins. Dr. Mapo said mycotoxins are secondary metabolites that affect our staple foods, especially in Africa where we have relatively high temperature and high humidity, and that supports the growth of the fungi that produces mycotoxins. So we have to be wary of the food we eat, and they have so many collaborations where we can go for researches, and into the program or after the program we'll have so many questions, because I think there are so many questions that will be waiting for you to answer, because you know the collaborations, and at least just to mitigate aflatoxins or mycotoxins in our staple food if our public health is concerned. Thank you so much, and we want to thank Professor Sarah de Sager for the opportunity to thank you. Now would move on to another interesting topic from or by Dr. Ranjana Bhattacharjee. Dr. Ranjana Bhattacharjee is a senior scientist. She works with the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA Ibadan here in Nigeria. She's an experienced molecular genetist and a breeder with more than 15 years of research in plant breeding and genetics. She's focused on smallholder farmers in yam and cocoa. Dr. Bhattacharjee's interests lie in building stronger partnerships between different agencies, including donors and researchers. Dr. Bhattacharjee has trained and has mentored numerous graduate students, technical staffs, both in the field and in the lab. Dr. Bhattacharjee is a principal investigator and a co-principal investigator in several bilateral projects, ranging from donors such as USAID, BMGF, NSF, BBSR, amongst others. In addition, Dr. Bhattacharjee is the chair of IITA Women's Group, which is involved in providing scholarship to girls through a competitive process within a project, namely Raise a Girl's Ambition Raga. Dr. Bhattacharjee will be speaking on gender issues in agriculture and rural development, the untapped opportunities for transformation. Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharjee, and welcome. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Prof. MSc, for giving the opportunity to talk. Before I start, I would like to wish all of us seated here, as well as who are online, a very happy International Rural Women's Day. Today, October 15th, is declared as the International Rural Women's Day, and what a privilege to give a talk on gender issues, on agriculture and rural development, the untapped opportunity for transformation on this very day. Thank you very much, and I hope I'll do justice to this topic. Before I go ahead, I would like to define some issues on gender and diversity. And I think when we speak about gender, people just think it's about women. It's not about women. So there is something called sex and gender, and they are being interrelated, and they are not identical. Sex refers to the biological traits that define men and women, while gender refers to men and women's societal roles, behaviors, activities, and attributes. So, since gender roles are socially constructed, they can be altered to suit that community's needs. So, I think after this, people should not think that gender means women. Gender is actually both men and women. There are different societies that have different cultural norms around gender. For example, in many African countries or societies, including my own country, India, inheritance and family name traditionally are handed down through the man. Some norms are more consistent around the world. For example, women are just considered to do all the housework around the world. What is gender equality? It is a goal state where both men and women have equal rights, responsibilities, and access to resources. Equality means we are all equal in the whole society, in the world. We are not the second citizen that is being treated in this world. When a girl is born, we are just from that birth itself, we are treated as we are second citizens, but we are not. A mother goes through the same process of delivering a boy and a girl. So it should be equal society, not a divided society. What is gender mainstreaming? It's a process of giving attention to gender issues as integral principle in projects. Equal, and this is again gender, that means men and women together. What is empowerment of women? It is a process giving women power and control over their lives. But that does not mean that it is disempowering the men. It is equal, again, power to both of them as equal citizens of a country or a society. Diversity is about more than gender. It encompasses all different groups that may be disempowered or disadvantaged in a society. It could relate to a woman, it could relate to a religious minority, or it can also relate to the people who are living in poverty. So I think people have to really clarify these terms in their minds before they actually relate everything to women and then try to put another kind of suppression to the women because of these terms. What is the situation of subsistence farming in sub-Saharan Africa? Yesterday, when we were listening to some of the talks, we heard that data is so important. And when I was looking for data all over the places, I only found FAO doing that job, while the countries are not doing that job. So if the countries do not provide data properly, you don't get real-time data. And whatever data I have, if you can see from the slide, is 2012, 2013, or even 2016, 2017. That means what? We don't have the real-time data, and that may not reflect the reality in the ground. However, if you see the slide on the left side, you will see that the contribution of female labor as a labor in the agricultural activities is much higher than the male. And if you look at the situation across different countries in sub-Saharan Africa, you will find that, females, they contribute much higher. And again, if you see the data from Zambia and Cameroon, there are 1, 2, 3. That means, there are different kinds of data. Different people are collecting different data. And this may not be actually the correct reflection of what is happening in reality. But the fact of the matter is that agricultural activities are carried out by women in sub-Saharan Africa to an extent of almost 30% to 80%. This is very, very high. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at women in agriculture and the key statistics, if you look at the left, right, you will see that the employed population as a shared total population by sex and sector. Green is agriculture, yellow is industry, and red or brown is services. You see that male is dominating everywhere. But when you come to the sub-Saharan Africa, you find that the contribution of women is also equal or almost equal to what man proportion is. And it's the same with distribution of male and female employment by sector. You will see that male and female in sub-Saharan Africa is almost the same. That means the contribution of female is much higher. And I just learned, from yesterday's talk that in Africa, the representation of women is almost 52%. When if you come to India, the women representation or women population is much, much lower than man. So that means that women have a lot to contribute. And this is again the same when you see the share of male and female agricultural holders in developing regions. You see in sub-Saharan Africa, look at that yellow portion, that's the female, and look at the green. That means, women may be working and maybe may contribute to agricultural labor to almost 52% or more than that, or 30 to 80%, but they have no rights. They do not have access to land. They don't have the land. Everything belongs to the men. If they do not have the power to make any decisions. So when I say that they are treated as second citizens, you can see that this is very clear in all the developing countries. Take it in Latin America and the Caribbean, take it in Southern Asia and Southeastern Asia, or even in North Africa and West Asia, or in Oceania. It's everywhere the portion of female contribution or females' rights to land or any other decision making is very, very low. The scenario is same when it comes to, percentage of adult population working for a wage, to get daily wages. Look at how men can get much better wages than women. I was even discussing with somebody that when a job is announced and a man and a woman applies, even if the woman is selected, there is still a negotiation in the salary structure sometime where if it is a man, that does not happen. So there are differences in our society. Who did it? Why it happens? Nobody actually knows, but it continues to happen in every sector, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in industry, or whether it is in service sector. Next slide. So why do I say untapped opportunity? It's untapped because women represents 52% of the total population and produce more than 60 to 80% of food grown worldwide. This is a huge percent. And this is an untapped opportunity if the women is not given that opportunity. In sub-Saharan Africa, women make up 50% of agricultural labor force, and in some countries it can go up to 80%. Yet, women face many constraints, such as accessing resources and markets, and I don't have to really narrate about it. We all know about it. So there is a gender gap. So what does gender gap does? It results in less food grown, less income generated, higher levels of poverty, and food insecurity. And why do I say that? It's estimated that 12 to 17% of hungry people in the world could be fed if women had the equal opportunities. Don't you think that the poverty is increasing because the women doesn't get the equal opportunity? So there is something that is untapped that needs to be, unfolded, and the opportunity should be provided. Only 5% of all agricultural extension services reach and benefit women. Yesterday, I was listening to people talking or putting their questions that they don't get help from the extension services. And why? Why this second citizen treatment? Men tend to control productive resources in agricultural sector, although women sell and produce more. Women will be only selling staple foods, but when it comes to cash crops, it's the men who sells it. Why again this kind of difference? Women benefit from a mere 10% of financial support for agriculture and forestry or fisheries. Only 10%. That too, they have to really push through it. or if they have very good, support system, like they belong to the rich, or they have connections, then only they can get through these. Women are key nutrition decision makers. We all know that it's a woman who cooks the food. Even if the man goes and buys all the things, she decides what to cook. So she's the key nutrition decision makers and are typically responsible for feeding the children and household. Next, please. So the opportunities. If you look at the picture or the figure in the right up, there is a gender parity score. If you see the gender parity scores, you will see that this is so high in most of the countries. And this is extremely, extremely high in some of the countries like India, that there is a lot of differences. So closing the gender gap could help increase food security and improve the livelihoods for all the growing populations, and especially in sub-Saharan Africa. If women worldwide had the same access to productive resources as men, they could increase yields on their farms by 20 to 30%. And these are not my calculations. These are from FAO studies. And they can raise the total agricultural output by 2.5 to 4%, thus lifting about 150 million people out of hunger. This is a huge impact that women can make. Based on this McKinsey's report, that the figure you have seen, if women play an identical role in labor markets as men, as much as USD 28 trillion or 26% could be added to global annual GDP by 2025. Integration of small women producers and exporters in high-value agricultural value chains for domestic, regional, and global markets can also play a significant role in poverty reduction. The picture which is, please go back. The picture which is below in the right is from one of the UNDP's site I have taken, and it says if women farmers had the same access, as I said already, it can lift up to 150 million fewer hunger people. It's there. It's all estimated. So when women gets more control on income and making economic decisions, there is positive influence on food, health, education, and children nutrition. I remember my DG said once that if you educate a man, you just educate the men. If you educate a woman, you educate the whole family and the society. Next, please. Now, the way forward, what is the transformational changes? How can we do that? This is all written there, but how do we achieve is a big question. And I think this symposium is a way forward, or a one step to that big hill that we have to cover. And closing the gap in access to land, I'm not going to read the whole thing. This can be shared and you can read, but this is all there. Like, you need to eliminate the discrimination, and there has to be a law for it. There has to be a recognition about the importance and power of customary land rights. There should be education of officials, and they should evaluate them on gender targets. There should be education of women regarding land rights. Women should hear their voices, and then they should speak out, adjust bureaucratic procedures. Then there should be closing the gap in rural labor markets. Then closing the financial services gap, closing the gap in social capital through women's groups, closing the technology gap. We have to improve the extension services. And then this figure on the right shows establishing the foundation for successful gender integration into agriculture and food security policy, projects, and program. First, we have to identify the problem. What is the problem? Then being informed, gender analysis. There has to be a gender analysis. Again, gender is not just women. It has to be men and women analysis together. Then policy or program or project design. There has to be a development of programs that is designed to address the gender issues. Then there should be policies to process and ensure that the proposed design will be effectively address the gender issues. There should be resources. Everything requires funding to make a change. Then there has to be implementation. There has to be gender responsive monitoring, gender responsive evaluation, And whatever the lessons are learned, the adjustment can be made. So these things need to be done. Then only there will be, women empowerment as well as men empowerment. Next. I would like to actually, I want to share something about my own journey coming from a country, just 2-3 minutes. Coming from a country like India, I actually come from one of the smallest states of India, where I didn't even there was no university even when I graduated or when I completed my grade 12. There was no university. And if a woman wants to go forward, the support system has to start from home. We talked about mentorship and confidence and everything yesterday. For me, the mentorship starts at home. The mentorship has to start from your parents. If your parents tell you that you can do it, then you can do it. Because I actually say that it comes from our parents. When a boy is born, he is being told from the very beginning or the first day that the woman will serve you. Yeah? The parents will say, go and bring the water for your brother. Right? I have an elder brother and we are only 2. My parents never told me to bring the water for him. They told him, go and get your water. You have your legs and your hands. So the mentorship started from my home, my parents, my father. When I was, I had to go almost like 2,000 kilometers away to do my bachelor's because I didn't have an university. I faced a lot of challenges. Language, this was in my own country, I was a foreigner because there was a different language, different food, different culture. I had to face a lot. But then my parents stood by me. They said, no, it's okay. My relatives kept saying, oh, your daughter is growing older. You are not going to get her married? My father said, no, she will not marry. She will marry when she wants. And if she doesn't marry, she will have the position to look after herself. She will not need somebody to support her. And what more support do you think you need if your own father and your brother stands by you and says these things? You don't need. And I always say that we women, we have to gain that confidence. Nobody will give you that confidence. Yesterday, Professor Akinlabi said something. The mentor will not come to you. You have to go to the mentor. You have to tell your parents, I can do it, I will do it, and nobody is there to stop me. And then you see, nobody can stop you. Yes, getting married, having children, and being a part of the society is one of our roles. This is one of our roles. But it is also our role to serve the community, not just serve our own family, but serve the community, serve the society. As our own brothers, fathers, husbands, and others also do. I hope I'm not sounding very feminist. But the thing is that we need to voice ourselves. As a woman, if I don't support another woman, nobody else will support. I think I have gotten more support from men than from women. And if we don't understand this, that women are the biggest enemies of the women. We don't like another woman to grow. Let's actually admit that. The day we are able to admit that, transformation will happen. Nobody will come and make transformation for us. We have to do it ourselves. I have seen women ganging up with men to put another woman in misery. We don't have to do that. We don't have to gossip. We don't have to bicker. We can do constructive discussions. We can gossip. It's a part of society, but let's not demean anyone. Let's make it really a transformation because we need to do it. And the policy makers, we can write thousands of policy briefs and give it to the policy makers. But the one question that the policymakers always ask, or my father had already asked me, asked me, do you think men are against the women? Do you really think that? I couldn't answer any time because I don't know. I don't know who is against who. Is it the men against the women or the women against women? I can't say it. But the fact of the matter is, if we have to make a change in the society and make sure that our voices are heard, charity has to start in the house. Once we make that transformation in the house, we will see a change in our society. Things will happen. It will take time. We will face problem. There will be challenges, but I'm sure we can do it. Thank you very much. And again, to everybody, a very happy International Rural Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjana Bhattacharjee, for that very, very interesting talk about gender issues in agriculture and rural development. Dr. Ranjana said, women are the problems of women. So women, what are we doing to ourselves? Please, for us to move forward, we have to lift ourselves. Apart from the fact that there is already discrimination against women, there's already, we don't have access to farmlands to farm, we don't have access to funding, we don't have access to so many things as compared to men. Then we shouldn't be our own problems too. We should always try and pull each other up. We should try and, if there's somebody in some high places, a woman, you should always encourage other women to go for it, to be there, to believe in themselves. And she also pointed out that charity begins at home, mentorship begins at home. So here, from everybody here, participants who here, we might be parents or even people looking up to some other people. As parents, we should always try to encourage our female child. We shouldn't relegate them behind. We shouldn't make them feel they are second citizens. We should push them forward to be what they can be, because yes, they can be what they want to be. So I really want to thank Dr. Ranjana Bhattacharjee for that insightful one, and I hope everybody has taken one or two things out of this. Thank you so much. Now we would move to the launching of the VOWDA journal. The VOWDA is the Voice of Women Development of Agriculture. It was founded, or it is founded by Dr. Yemisi Jeff Agbola, who is a senior lecturer, who is an associate professor at the Ondo State University of Medicine. She has a very, very good prospect for, women in agriculture, catching them young, the girls, the women, and now there's a journal. Apart from the fact that the society is on the roll, yes, its maiden journal is here. So just a few minutes is going to be launched by Dr. Taufik Adegboyega and Dr. Kehinde Karim.
Welcome you all to this session of journal launch. Is Dr. Adegboyega there? Okay, before I continue with the launch of the journal, I want to thank all our authors who submitted their abstracts for this symposium. We have about 34 abstracts submitted by authors. So before we go into the launching proper, I want everyone to see the video, the flash video of the abstract submitted by authors. Thank you. video of the abstract submitted by our authors. Now to the launch of the Journal of Voice of Women in the Development of Agriculture. First, I would like to go through the aims and scope of Journal of VOWDA. The abbreviation of the Journal of Voice of Women in the Development of Agriculture is Journal of VOWDA. I wish to inform you that Journal of VOWDA is registered with the National Library of Nigeria, and it has obtained the ISSN numbers for online and print publications. Journal of VOWDA is peer-reviewed open access research journal publishing high-quality manuscripts in different areas of agricultural sciences, rural women development, biotechnology in relations to plant and animal sciences, food safety and nutrition, biomedicines and social sciences related to agriculture. Journal of VOWDA publishes once in a year in electronic form. Though this may be changed later, we may decide to produce more than one issues per year. The journal provides an avenue for academics, researchers, professionals, and students to submit their original articles, reviews technical reports, short communications, and case studies, all written in English. We hereby invite authors to kindly submit their articles as attachments in MS Word format to secretariat@vowda.org, and all the activities about VOWDA can be found on the website, which is www.vowda.org. We also have our journal administrators. The editor-in-chief is Karim Kehinde Titilope, PhD, from Institute of Agricultural Research and Training, Obafemi Awolowo University, Mo Plantation, Ibadan. Our area of interest is plant virology and pathology. The journal editorial manager is Dr. Adegboyega Taufik, from Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna. His research interest is underutilized legume, germplasm characterization, plant and microbial biotechnology, climate smart agriculture, and food sciences. We also have Dr. Badmos Aminat, who is the journal production manager. She works with the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, in the Department of Microbiology. We have Shehu Aminat Bature, who is the journal assistant. She works with the Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna, Nigeria. Our area of interest is food, nutrition and safety, occupational and environmental health, water, sanitation, and hygiene, WASH. The journal web manager is Aderonke Obafayi, from Center of Atmospheric Research, Abuja. We have our editors, and they include Dr. Monsurat Shoge, who is the head of Department of Chemistry from Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna. We have Dr. Fadekemi Osaye from the Department of Mathematics, Alabama State University, USA. We have Dr. Temitope Jekayin-Oluwa from the University of Nairobi, Kenya. Then we have Bartholomew Adeleke from Northwest University, South Africa. We have also constituted our journal advisory board, and they include Garrett David Dyke from Edan's Innovative Scientific Solution, UK. We have Fadekemi Osage from Alabama State University. We have Professor Oluwamukomi, MO, from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. We have Professor Babatunde Rabiu from NASDRA, Nigeria. We have Dr. Yemisi Jeff Agbola, who is the president of VOWDA. We have Dr. Tendekai Malanza from Agricultural Research Council, Plant Health and Research, South Africa. And we have Dr. Shirima Rudolph from IITA, Tanzania. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karim and Dr. Taufik Adegboyega. That was the brief on the Journal of the Voice of Women in Development of Agriculture. We hope everybody here, you tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to publish in this journal. It is our first issue, first volume, and we hope everybody will be a part of our first and subsequent ones. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Now we'll move to another keynote talk by Dr. Afolashade Arike Ayoade. Dr. Afolashade Arike Ayoade is the secretary to the government of the Kogi State, that is the confluent state here in Nigeria. She is a two-time secretary to the government of Kogi State and the longest-serving SSG. The longest-serving SSG, yes, is a woman. Since the creation of the state, she holds the position since 2016. And coincidentally, Dr. Ayoade is the only female SSG in the 19 states in the northern Nigeria. She started her career with the Federal Ministry of Health, Food and Drug Division as a scientific officer, and she later moved to the National Agency for Food, Drug and Administration and Control, that is NAFDAC. She also worked with chemical investigation authorities in Germany. Dr. Ayoade owns and manages a non-governmental organization which she named Folashade Ayoade Initiative for Widows and Orphans, FIWO, where she has empowered several hundreds of widows and orphans. Dr. Ayoade will be speaking on propelling women in agriculture. Please, Dr. Ayoade, thank you for joining us. You have the floor now. Ayoade will be joining us later as the program proceeds. Now, I think it's time for some panel discussion. Any questions, any burning or propelling questions we have, any would discuss, would. Okay. Okay, so on our panel list for today, we'll have of course, we have introduced Dr. Ayoade, Dr. Ranjana. Now we'll introduce Professor Stella Williams. Professor Stella Williams is the founder of Nigerian Women in Agricultural Research for Development, the NIWAD, and she's an accomplished and retired professor with 25 years of teaching experience at Obafemi Awolowo University, formerly the University of Ife. She taught there from 1983 to 2008, and a total of 15 years at Girls Secondary School and Teachers Training institutions. Professor Williams' career spans across 25 years of award-winning work in agriculture, ecosystem, ecological, environmental, community development, and rehabilitation, with an emphasis on youth and women development empowerment in Nigeria, especially in Africa. Professor Williams has contributed in so many ways, and she has been recognized for her contributions. She has received numerous awards from Africa, from nationally and internationally. Professor Stella Williams currently serves as the Vice President on the board of Mundus Maris headquarters in Brussels, Belgium. And she has taken so much on undergraduate students, and she has helped them financially, morally, and she's also an advocate for the introduction of work study system program at the university, where students have the opportunity to study and to work so as to be able to fend for themselves. She has benefited from so many postgraduate programs in the United States, and yes, she founded the Nigerian Women in Agriculture Research NIWAD in 2013. Welcome, Professor Stella Williams. We are glad to have you here. Thank you for staying all through from yesterday to today. We are really appreciate you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, moderator. And it's been a wonderful experience. And we are thankful to Dr. Yemisi Jeff Agbola for being so resilient and wanting to make sure that all women, whether they are farmers or non-farmers, have an opportunity to be a joy to the world. And we thank IITA for partnering with VOWDA, and we look forward to more successful implementation of activities as outlined by Dr. Ranjana. And we're looking forward to be able to answer a number of the questions that will be put forward to us today. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you. On our panelists today, we have Mrs. Feintola Bello. Mrs. Feintola Bello is the CEO of Bella Foods, and she's also the CEO of Olori Cosmetics. She has a BSc degree from the BSc degree in engineering from the University of Ilorin, and she proceeded with a master's degree in food processing and nutrition. Mrs. Feintola Bello, being the CEO of Bella Food, they produce numerous kind of food. They are about the food production and processing, ranging from the poundo yam wheat. I'm sure everybody knows poundo yam, the yam flour, the bean flour, and they don't allow waste to go to waste, so say, because they use the waste, especially the banana peels, to make cosmetics for the use of people. Thank you so much, Mrs. Feintola, for being part of this panel. We really appreciate you. Then, Mrs. Feintola, please, are you here with us?
There's somebody called user. Is that the person? User.
Okay.
Can you unmute that person? The user.
Okay, user.
Maybe this is the person. Just unmute her.
Okay. Please, Mrs. Feintola, are you?
Yeah, just ask Feintola, are you online?
Okay. Ms. Feintola, please, are you online, ma'am? Okay. Another person we have on the panelist is Mrs. Ngozi Okeke. Mrs. Ngozi Okeke is the CEO of Fortune Farms Limited. She's the co-founder of Fortune Farms Limited, actually. Fortune Farms Limited is an agricultural company established in 2017 that offers a farm-to-table fish integrated solution. Mrs. Ngozi holds the position of the Director of Operations. She has an MBA in Finance and Investment from Ahmadu Bello University. She has a bachelor's degree in Agricultural Economics from Michael Okpara University of Agriculture. She is also a certified agribusiness professional by the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA. Thank you, Mrs. Okeke Ngozi, for joining us, for being a part of this panel. You're welcome, ma. Are you?
She's there.
She's there.
Please introduce herself. Just introduce herself.
Okay. Mrs. Okeke Ngozi, please, can you introduce yourself if you're online?
The customer please try again later.
Okay. She's there. She's online.
She's speaking, we can't hear her.
She's there. Mrs. Ngozi, we can't hear you. Is she not here? Please unmute her. Mrs. Ngozi, please, can you unmute yourself? She has done that.
Ask her to
Can you speak a little louder, please? We can't hear you. I'm sorry, ma, we can still hear you. Who should I start from?
Okay, you can start the question.
Okay, okay.
Just ask instead of
Still-
names or me.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll be starting from. Okay. I think she's talking. Okay. Thank you so much. We'll be starting the panel discussion from none other than Professor Stella Williams. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us. Ma, as somebody that's worked severally, or somebody that has the passion of agriculture, especially for women at art, what are the strategies do you think can mainstream gender, especially the female gender, into agricultural policies and programs, especially in developing countries such as hers?
Well, the first strategy is to get connected. And it was mentioned over and over yesterday. You need to join an association or join a group locally in your area or statewide or nationally or internationally. Thank God for COVID-19, because with COVID-19 now, anything is possible virtually, just as we're doing now. And so keeping away is a non-strategy, but getting involved is a positive strategy. We've also heard from yesterday that getting mentoring, using role models, involving yourself, no matter how little you can, is a great strategy. Don't wait to do something big. Start with small. Like Shoemaker said, small is beautiful, even if it's in your own household. For example, if your children can begin to plant and raise things, even if you don't have any land, you can use various materials, plastic bottles, cans, various other available empty portion to start planting from your home, so that your children begin to get a flair for what it is. Because that is my own story. When I was just 5 years old at Tinubu Methodist School in Lagos, my class teacher would ask us to bring snails, or would give us various seeds like beans, corn, okra, and we will use at that time ideal milk cups to plant these materials. And that at the age of 5 was when I was able to learn about phototropism, because we will put these cups of planted seed to the window, and we will see the plant moving towards the window. We will put them in darkened places, especially cupboards, and we see it becoming orange or yellowish. And that's when I learned that the snail we eat, it is the foot of the snail, not the viscera. That's at a young age. And so by then, we were able to go on to have school gardens. So these are things that we can go back to do. Yes, it was many years ago, 1948, but we are now in 2021, and we're still talking about these things. And it is possible, because nothing is impossible for us to do. Dr. Yemisi Jeff Agbola is another good story. When I met her at FUTA in 2013, she was adamant that she wanted to become an award fellow. She strived And today, she and I are Fulbright fellows. It's not the issue. It is how, what, by whom, with whom you do these things. So getting connected is very, very important. And then what we've been doing today, networking, at least for the 30 or more people that are virtually involved in this, if we can begin to network with each other, because as it was mentioned by Dr. Ranjana, you don't have to go to the moon. Charity begins at home. For us, VOWDA is our home where this charity is taking place. Let's network. Let's work together. And the sky is not even going to be the limit. Sharing experience with fellow women. The goal is to promote the image, role, and leadership of women, not only on the farm, but leading the youths, as IITA has done for others who came to IITA for their NYSC, and today they are farmers. And they're conducting cutting-edge research at various levels, as Dr. Ranjana proved to us. Yes, FAO has been the one collecting all this data, but then there are others who are also doing in small patches and in ways. But collectively, if we work together to share our analysis of the data, then we will begin to get the real and true picture. And this will go into the UNDP profile of the various countries. Leadership is important. I look at our moderator. You can see she's doing everything she can, but because the camera is on her, we can see her facial expression and things like that. But then if you look at Dr. Ranjana and myself, you will see there is no fear in our faces, because we are used to staying in front of a camera, talking, and making sure we project confidence. And that was the first thing that our ward did for all the fellows in our mentoring program. We brought their mentors. We made them interact with each other. And through learning from each other, they are now leaders, like the president of VOWDA. So leadership opportunities is very important. It gives the opportunity for stewardship. It shows the resilience that we have, and it helps to combine our effort, not dissipate it. Because by combining our effort as we are doing today, we are making rural farming communities showcase what they are doing, what they can do, and what can be put down as the policy. And so I hope this long-winded presentation has answered that simple question, the strategy. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Professor Williams. Thank you. We appreciate it. Now that you've mentioned it, Professor Williams, may I use this opportunity to ask if you could facilitate the inclusion of Nigerian back into being an award fellows, because it is my understanding that, yes, I don't know why we've been cut off, so that at least so many of our women might be able to. I don't know how you'll be able to do that, but I think just accept this as a plea. Thank you so much.
Well, our problem, as we've said, begins at home. Nigeria has not supported the African female fellows in Nigeria.
Wow.
This is the reason. It's not only our word that has removed Nigeria. Bollock Foundation has removed Nigeria.
Wow.
So if our home is not in order, nobody is going to work with us. Ghana is still on our word. Tanzania is still on our word. Kenya is still on our word. All these countries, their government work with the various groups. Nigeria doesn't work with us.
Yeah.
We pushed and pushed and pushed. But I'm thankful that Dr. Anjana is willing to meet with me once I return home. And we can, through IITA, that has the ears of the government, hopefully do something.
Yeah, we hope so. Thank you so much. Thank you so now, Dr. Anjana, thank you so much for being a part of us. Then from your story, very insightful one. You know, it's my understanding that women are the problems of women and there's a lot of competition all around. How do you think we can overcome this?
Thank you. Before even I say that women are competition to women, I like to tell that don't think that the men are not competing. They are competing as well. The only thing is we are vocal about it. They are not. They do it in a very subtle way. We do it in a very open way. But, you know, this is the only thing. They are also competing. And for them, the competition is much higher because, you know, they strive for perfection. For us, if we even get a small step forward, it's a big achievement. So there's a huge difference in the perception for this. Now, when you say that how can we overcome the competition among women itself, it's because we do not have that equal opportunity. We do not have that confidence. We do not have, you know, if I am today here, some of my cousin sisters, within my own family, they envy me. They are jealous of me, not because they don't like me, just because that they didn't get the same structure of support in their own family from their own parents. And that's where it starts. You know, when you have something strike your mind as a child, it remains. And that's where they feel that, oh, this woman is here, I cannot be. So let me bring her down by saying something wrong about her. And you can't blame that lady. And I don't blame that lady. Because it's the situation that is in the society from day one she is born. As I said, is the second citizen. That makes her lose that confidence. Make sure that she is always, like she always feels suppressed. She always feels that I cannot be like her or like him. You know, this is the problem. And if we can overcome that situation or overcome that thinking, is called mindset change. And that mindset change has to come from childhood. That girl has to be provided with that kind of system or a support that she is equal to the boy that is born to that family. She is not supposed to be doing the job for her father or mother and the brothers that she has, and education is the second thing. If we have educated ourselves, that means we have liberated ourselves. That's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. Education is the key for development. How many girl children goes to education? If I talk about my country, I think, less than 50% of women go to, or girl children are in the school. They are meant to be doing the household chores, helping the mother, because the mother is busy doing something else to take the family ahead. So it's a bigger issue. It's a huge issue that when I say that women are against women or the biggest enemy, I don't generalize it. Please, let me correct myself. I'm not generalizing it. But what I'm saying is that there is a background behind that. Like Dr. Stella said, that me and her, we are confident. And even what Zaina did yesterday, there was more confidence. It's because of the exposure. It's because of what we have. We have a support system. Each one of us, even my husband, he keeps telling me, Ranjana, go ahead and do this. He doesn't stop me. I have only one daughter. And we said, that's it. We will not have any more children. Those are the decisions you make it together. And you tell yourself that this is where my job is just not a baby producing machine. Right? We have to have those says. Until we say what we want, nobody will listen to us. The problem we women have is we don't speak out. We just don't do it. And we always feel that, oh, everybody else is our enemy. And we are doing the right thing. No, let us talk to each other. Let us see what the other person is going through. As I said, men also goes through competition, and they go through double competition from the men and the women. So let's not say that only women are competitive or against each other. We are all competing with each other. We are going to be 9 billion in 2030. That's a huge population. My own country has 1.2 billion people. Yeah. So when I was competing, or when I was and if I say that in my bachelor's, which I did agriculture, we were 100 students in one class with 5 girls and 95 boys.
Wow.
In my master's, we were 20 a master's in plant breeding. I was the only woman. In my PhD, we were 15. I was the only woman. But I got such a support from all my fellow men colleagues, and I still get a lot of support from my fellow men colleagues and women colleagues as well. But what I'm saying is that women have to become confident and educate themselves, and that will bring down the competition, or I will not say the competition, at least the feeling of inferiority. This is called inferiority complex. We are in a complex. As long as we will have that complex within us, competition will remain. But we need to learn one thing: this whole world is competing, just not women competing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjana. So, women, we should understand that our own light would not dim if we put another woman's light on. So we should always try and, bring ourselves up, and not just women competing with women. Of course, men compete with women, but at least we know the statistics. Then women should always try and speak up. Yes, I think everybody here has gotten the understanding that yes, we should try and speak up, because well, at the end of the day, it is just speaking up. It won't do us no harm. Thank you so much. Mrs. Okereke Ngozi, I don't know if you're still online. Can you hear us, please? Mrs. Okereke. Mrs. Okeke, please. Can you hear us, please? Can you hear me? She's speaking,
but we can't hear her.
But we can. Oh, I'm so sorry. We can't hear you.
Can she come here if she's here? Okay.
I don't know why Mrs. Okeke is not audible, but we would have loved to hear from you. Okay, maybe then.
Maybe do without earphones.
Yeah, ask her to remove the earphone.
Can you please remove your headphone? You don't have it.
Okay, so check the volume of your mic and if you're using computer.
Okay, please can you check the volume on the mic, or are you using your computer or your phone, ma'am? Okay. Okay, I think till Mrs. Okeke is audible, I'll direct my question to Professor Williams again, that apart from the fact that charity begins at home, mentorship begins at home, parents and brothers and sisters will have their own part to play in building the confidence in a woman. What do you think governments, industries, academic institutions, because yes, you've served 25 years in University of Ife, that is no small thing, ma'am. So what do you think, or how do you think the university system can impact the next set of agricultural scientists, who are especially females?
Okay. Let me use OAU as an example. At OAU, the Vice Chancellor is always interested in the livelihood of the student. Therefore, as the head of the institution, he passes down the energy to make the life of the student critical. And so when I was still there, one of my classmates, who was the Vice Chancellor, Professor Roger Makonjola, we both finished our WAEC in 1962. He at King's College, me at Queen's College. And we were both very troublesome children. When we met, we were now able to discuss what we need, what we want, how we can. And this is why he was able, using Carnegie Foundation money, to assist us, the women who were involved in the lives of the student. First, to carry out gender training for the staff, right from the Vice Chancellor, the librarian, the various other committees, so that they would understand why we were making the fuss about improving the livelihoods of the female students. Because at Ife, the female student can only be vice president of the student union. In all the years of OAU, no female has been a president of the student union. And that came from my own experience at Forabe College in Freetown, Sierra Leone. As a student activist, I joined the student union. And I could only become vice president of the student union. And I said, no, I am even more articulate and forward-going than the president of the student union. Okay? Then during Gowon's time, we came to Nigeria to have a meeting, and I led the delegation of the student union from Sierra Leone to come to Nigeria to meet Gowon. But then getting to Nigeria, one of the retired governor, Shegun from Ogun State, he was then working with the Daily Times, questioned why Forabe should make a woman be the leader of the delegation. And I told him the difference between Nigeria and Sierra Leone is that in Sierra Leone, through their education, they knew that women could be leaders, whereas Nigeria was refusing to accept that women could be leaders. Do you see the difference? So it's not only at home, but even in the society. When Sarah Jubrin entered for president, she only had one vote, her own vote. So how do we get people who are working in the universities to change their mindset, to accept that what a man can do, a woman can also do. Let me not say do better. Okay? But if the lecturers are interested in the cohort of their students, they would work with their students to make them surpass them as lecturers and become better and do better things. Okay? And so these are the strategies. We need to have mindset changes for each of the staff of every university in Nigeria to know that the life of their students should be developed, not shortchanged. And that is one way by which the student, we got the example yesterday from Professor Akimbi from FUTA, who said she wanted to be a civil engineer, but they gave her the admission for something else. But today she has made the best of that agricultural engineering. But her dream was to be a civil engineer like her father. If those who were working on the admission were mindful of what she wanted, because she tried to change, and yet they wouldn't change it. Okay? So, to answer your question, how can the institutions improve the educational development of the female student as an agriculturalist? Not think that she's a weak vessel. Not think that she cannot take the stress. Not think that she is just a thing. But look at her as a human being. Look at her as wanting to use and develop her talent. Look at her as being a forerunner to make things happen, just as we saw from policy yesterday. She is a forerunner. But it is by default that she became a forerunner. You could have imagined what she would have been as a civil engineer. But she made the best of what she was given. And so we in the mentoring should not only work in this small group. We need to reach out. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody, and keep moving that information until it is heard. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you very much. Dr. Ranjana, do you want to add to what Professor Williams has said?
Professor Stella, you have touched one of the strings of mine. You know the situation in my country very well, India, where we have female feticide, right? They will kill the female fetus if it's a female, because females are unwanted. That's the atrocity that we have on women. Now let me tell my story where my dream was to become a engineer again, and I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. And when I was given a position, or I got a seat in an engineering college as an electrical engineering, to study electrical engineering. My father was an electrical engineer, so I didn't want to become an electrical engineer. So I went to them and I said, I want to do mechanical engineering. Back in 1994. And I was told that the management of that engineering college said to me that mechanical engineering is not for women. It's only for men, or it's only for boys. And I was like, really? But I want to do it. And they just didn't allow me to get an entry. And they said, okay, the best we can give you is civil engineering. I said, I don't want to do civil engineering. I want to do mechanical. And I kept fighting, and they never gave me that seat, so I had to leave. And I was at that time 18 years old, and I told my father, please get me married, because I cannot do my engineering or the dream engineering, so I don't want to study anymore. When I had scored about 94% in my grade 12, with physics 99 out of 100. And my name even came on the newspaper, in national newspaper in India, as the second scorer in physics. 100 out of 100 that year was the highest. So what I did, I said, fine, I'm not studying. Fortunate, I got a call from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in India, which we call it as Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, that I got a fellowship to go somewhere 2,000 kilometers away from my own state to do agriculture. And my father said, what? You are going to do farming? There is no way you are going. Just do some physics honors or something, and then you can do mechanical engineering or civil engineering. I said, no, I'm going. And I think I made the best decision of standing very strong. And my mother crying beside me saying, oh, I cannot send you 2,000 kilometers away. I will not be able to see you, and so many things. But I said, no, I'm going. That is it. I'm going. And I think today I do genomics. And all my classmates who did mechanical engineering or electronic engineering or computer engineering sits in one place, takes calls, and keeps changing programs or doing something with machines. But I go around the world to see different people. I make changes to the smallholder farmers. I get to go to the farm. I bring a difference. I think I made the best decision in my life to be in agriculture. Yes, it looks very dirty that we are going to have dirty hands, dirty legs and whatever. But that is what brings food to our plate. IITA has started a program, and I think Dr. Chris Akem made a mention yesterday, which is Start Them Early program. And that's what we need to do. We need to bring, you said it very rightly, Professor Stella, that there has to be a mindset change. It's just not those engineering jobs and medical jobs which can keep people in labs. Agriculture has to be seen as a business model. And it is a business model. It is a value chain. As long as we don't do that, you will not see that, that happens. And talking about bureaucracy, which country doesn't have it? And all these bureaucracies are against women. And they are also against men. They are just not against women. They are more against women, but maybe a little less for men. But they are also against men. So how this can be changed, we don't know. I asked Dr. Emesi when she came with this idea that how many policymakers are going to attend this symposium. I don't know how many are there online or if we have, but we don't have anybody representing the policymaker. And even if we have that person coming in as a policymaker and attending this, that person may just listen to us and get stuck somewhere again in the other bureaucratic system. That person may have the willingness to do something, but then we have such strong bureaucratic system which is against something to be done well, and it never ends. So we don't know how to break that chain. But as Dr. Stella said, we have to keep pushing. We have to keep pushing, not just as women, we have to keep pushing as men and women together to make those changes when it comes to the policies. Nothing can be done alone. We are, in fact, I feel that there are so many gender-related programs nowadays coming from different resources like GIZ, USAID, Gates Foundation, and a lot of other resources. But there is no program that talks about how to make changes in the policies. because those are made by the countries themselves and the governments themselves. So I think there has to be some kind of project or programs where the people have to join hands with the bureaucrats and make some programs together or projects together to bring differences in these stringent systems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjana. Thank you. We really appreciate that. I don't know if Mrs. Okeke is audible now. Mrs. Okeke. Mrs. Okeke, are you online? She's online. Okay.
She is.
She is.
Maybe.
Okay, she's muted. Okay. Okay.
So
okay.
just give
So
one last 1
yeah.
minute
Okay.
observations.
Okay, just so Mrs. Okeke is not audible, so I think thank you, Professor Williams. Lastly, just I don't know, what would be the best advice you would give to young women starting up a career in agriculture? How can they move forward? Where do you see the women now? Where do you see them in future? How do you think things will change? Because you've said we've been talking about this for over decades and it's still on right now. So young women trying to start their career in agriculture or a second career in agriculture, what do you think the future holds for them? How do they move forward?
Well, as Dr. Anjana and I have said, the future can only move forward if there is the conversation. And IITA is already started that conversation, starting them young. So what we need to do is continue to partner with IITA. This time, to have this career modeling, kind of role modeling at every school, from the primary, because that's the way you can start them young. I gave you my example at 5 years old, and I'm still enjoying it. Okay? So the conversation has started, but the conversation now needs to be partnered by more than just these few of us. We have to pay it forward. After this meeting for 2 days, let's challenge each other that everyone, and I mean everyone that you meet, ask the question, have you heard about women in agriculture? Where did you hear it from? How can you join us as a force to make it a reality? Where, like in Nigeria, statistically, women are 50.2, where men are 49.8. Statistically. In other words, we are more than the men, but the men have more power. Whether you want to call it competition or not, they have had that power installed on them as the brokers of this discussion. Let me give you another example of my own personal life. When I joined OAU, the former Vice Chancellor, late Professor Oluwasomi, had made gender equity and parity. Those of us who came to Ife without our husband, we had the same opportunity as the men, because late Professor Oluwasomi did not divide and rule. He ruled in equity. So all the male and female staff had the same opportunity. We were being paid the same salary according to our cadre. We were given housing according to our status and things like that. But because he had laid down that rule, troublemakers like me were able to now make the men begin to change. I joined the OAU staff club, not to go and drink, but to be with the men, tell them what I need, what I want, so that at faculty board meeting, these men will be repeating what I have said as if they are the ones that are saying it. Because I discovered that they will not listen to me at faculty board meeting as a woman and as a troublemaker, but they will listen to their friends who are men. So I now went to where the men are, where they are jubilating, to sow the seed of what I want. So at faculty board meeting, I will kick. Ishola, remember what we said? Oh, he will now say, yes, yes, madam. And we'll repeat it, and they will all clap. Yes, that's a very good idea. Yes, we should do it. I don't care that Ishola is getting the credit. All I want is a change. And so this, I hope, would be the outcome of VOWDA. That we recruit men, as Dr. Jeff Agbola has said. We feminize them. I am a feminist, and I'm very proud of it. But I work with the men to install what is needed without making bones about it. Allow them to take credit for it. And so I'm praying that the outcome of this 2-day meeting would get into policy by us meeting with policy people and getting it going. In Nigeria, finally, it is the Ministry of Agriculture that has launched the gender policy. The men in Senate and the House are still refusing it. But the Ministry of Agriculture has launched it. So it is now a policy in the Nigerian system. And this is how we continue to work. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much, ma. We really appreciate it. Actually, one of the aim of this symposium is to develop policy brief to. Unfortunately, the SSG to the state governor, she's not here to Kogi State, but she said she has other engagements. But I hope everything we have talked about here gets to the right authority. Of course, it will. We so much appreciate you, ma. Thank you so much, Dr. Ranjana. Any last word? Any advice for young girls? Any?
After professors tell us those strong words, then I don't know where I fit. But the last thing that I want to advise the young women is that please don't step back. You know that we are not treated the similar way, but that doesn't mean that we cannot pave our way. Have that confidence. We are as talented as men are. And as somebody was telling yesterday, we have the same brain. So we are not less intelligent by any means. And practice makes people perfect. That is it. And if you make your brain to think, it will become perfect and it can think better. So please don't step back. Think about it. Knock doors. One door may not open for you. But if you knock 100 doors, at least one will open. And remember, if you are the one going and knocking one door, there are millions following you knocking the same door because of the population size. So please never let that dishearten you or make you that, oh, I have lost everything. Somebody says, okay, how many project proposals have you written this year? This is one of our appraisal thing. I don't get disheartened by writing. I know that I will not get funds, but let me write 100 or 10, I will get one. If I get disheartened, then I cannot get it. So please, I'm telling you, if 10 people are pulling you behind, you just say that, no, you can't take me back. I will go 10 steps or 20 steps ahead. So that when they pull you 10 steps back, you are still 10 steps ahead. So please, I would say that have that confidence. And if your brother or father says, oh, bring me the water, tell them that they can bring it themselves. Please, even to your husband, if they say that, get me the water or can you cook this? Yes, do it with love because you love him. But you also tell him, please, can you cook for me because you also love me? And then you will see that charity will surely begin at home and there will be a change. And there are some things which are in our hand, some things which are not in our hands. And this is the situation not only for women, it's the situation for men as well. Let's recognize that. Again and again, I tell the same thing. Let's not just say that women only face problems. No, men face bigger problems as well. So let's do it together, and then only change can come in this society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I see Professor Williams raising her hand. Is there
Yes.
anything you want to say?
Yes. Dr. Ranjana just raised an issue, proposal. And that was one of the questions that I was sent by the president of VOWDA. And while we are here, as I said, now you can go online and get training on proposal writing.
Yeah.
For example, AITA gives that online training. Yeah. The same thing with FARA. The same thing with AGRA. And there are so many other international grouping that gives training. So let everyone that is on this virtual training, please go online. You will find every subject that you want trained on. Proposal writing, grant writing, winning opportunities, scholarship. Because yesterday somebody was asking about scholarship. And I did put my WhatsApp on the thing yesterday. If people get in touch with me by WhatsApp, I will keep sending calls that I get. Or if they send email to me, I will share it. Because by paying it forward so that this information is shared and multiplied all over, then the more those who are able to compete, it is never given to you. It's not who you know. No, it's your own hard work. You have to put that hard work to time. As Dr. Ranjana has said, if you write, one of my lecturers told me when we were raising fish, that until you kill 1,000 fishes, you will not know how to raise fish at Auburn University, that I now share with MEC because I got my PhD from Auburn University in Alabama. So you need to fall down, brush yourself, stand back up, sit down at your desk and write that proposal until you win. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. We couldn't have added better with you and Dr. Ranjana. Unfortunately, Mrs. Okeke's audio, but thank you so much to all our panels. We really, really appreciate it, and we have tapped so much from your experience, and I hope would carry it on, and we too pay it forward. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us. Now, we'll quickly move to the plenary session. The plenary session will be handled by Dr. Adegboyega and Dr. Karim. It's just 2 minutes presentation of some notable abstracts that we'll receive for the conference. Please stay with us and we'll start the plenary session now. Dr. Adegboyega and Dr. Karim, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, once again. I'm Karim Kehinde. I welcome you to the plenary session. We have about 4 presenters for the plenary session. and they have Lawal, RT, et al. And the title of the presentation is Assessment of Fermentation Method on Nutritional, Anti-Nutritional Composition, and Microbial Properties of Mung bean, Vigna radiata, popularly known as Iru. The second one is Land Preparation Methods and Cropping Systems, Effects on Maize Viral Diseases by Karim et al. The third one is Role of African Women Farmers in Mitigating Food Insecurity by Shoge et al. While the last but not the least is the Role of Women in Food Safety Management in Africa by Jeff Agbola et al. 2 minutes will be given to each presenter for the presentation. So now I will call on the first person, which is Lawal RT et al., to give his presentation. Kindly share the presentation with us. Lawal RT et al., are you there? Lawal RT et al. I've read out the title of the presentation. Role of women.
Roles of African women farmers in mitigating
Shoge, S-H-O-G-E.
Yes.
She's coming. She has 22 slides.
She has 2 minutes.
Please tell her.
Shoge et al., are you there? You have just 2 minutes for your presentation.
Ask her to go ahead.
Shoge is not there.
It's not there.
Okay. Can we move on to the next?
Okay. Maybe we should go to the next one since Shoge is not coming up. Let's move to Dr. Jeff Agbola's presentation.
The role of women. Dr. Agbola will be speaking on the role of women in food safety management in Africa. You have 2 minutes, ma'am. You can start now. Share your screen. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy that to present this and sorry, give me just a few minutes. Okay, you are sharing. Okay, please, the next slide. I'm happy to present this on the role of women in food safety management in Africa on behalf of all the other authors. Next slide, please. Okay, we know that ensuring food safety is a public health priority and is an essential step in achieving food security, which will help in safeguarding the health and well-being of people, fostering economic development and improving livelihood. Next slide, please. And the aim of this presentation is to focus on highlighting the role played by women of different gender groups in order to ascertain food safety and quality from farm to fork, which we examine the gender involvement in food production, and it's supposed to go forward to mycotoxin prevention as one of the tools towards increasing food sufficiency and consequently curbing food crisis. Next slide, please. And I have the outline. Next slide. When we're talking about food safety and food security, we mean that food safety and food security, they go hand in hand. And food safety is the handling of preparation and storage of foods in so many ways that prevent foodborne illnesses. And food security is the availability of some wholesome food. Availability, what type particular food is available? Is it contaminated food? Is it food filled with pesticide and stuff like that? So that is why it's very important when we talk about food security, we have to talk about food safety. Next slide, please. Okay, please, next slide. Just move. Okay. You can move to the next slide. Just 2 minutes. And we know that food safety is directly linked with SDG 2, which aims at to end hunger, and also it supports poverty reduction. Please, next slides. Next. And we have all the SDGs that covers food safety and all that. Please, next slides. Let's go to the next slides. We know the population of Africa is much. Why do we focus on women? We could focus on women because about 60 to 80% of food is being processed by women. They work on farms and other agricultural activities. They process food, and they work as food vendors and producers, and they prepare food at home, and they play an essential role in prevention of foodborne diseases. Next slides. And these women that are the backbone of agriculture, that processing food and stuff like that, whenever there is discussion that have to do with agriculture, they are always excluded from conversation that determine agricultural policies, and this deprive them of there are so many policies, so many laws, so many norms that describe deprive them of having lands and having rights and livelihood. Next slide, please. And these are the major roles played by women in agriculture, starting from sowing, weeding, application of fertilizer, pesticide. You know, they have so many activities that they are involved in agriculture. Next slide, please. And men also have their roles that they play, but looking at the major roles that women play when it comes to processing of foods and preservation, women has more role, but they are major tasks, like men are responsible for maybe some other major tasks like land preparation and plowing, and they focus on big animals and stuff like that. Next slides. Next, please. Okay, so looking at African women, please, let's go back. Looking at African women, we discover that most women they have special knowledge of values and diverse use of plants for nutrition, health, and income, and they have this kind of traditional knowledge of indigenous plants, and they are experts in preserving biodiversity. Next slide. According to all those authors. Next slide, please. And when you look at the role that women play in preserving crops and foods, you discover that in the olden days, our mothers normally store crops, most especially maize, hanging them in their kitchen. And with them, they don't used to have a major contamination of maize. But right now, we now stack maize together. So the women that are involved in the knowledge of preservation needs to be carried along whenever we're talking about decision making about food preservation and processing. So African women are the custodian of traditional knowledge in terms of food preservation. Next slide, please. And with caring for the basic household needs, women are very, very much involved. The women, like the youth group and the women group, they are involved. Next slides. So, like what Vicky White said, he said we have a lot of challenges, and it's high time we stop talking about challenges and be talking about our strength. But these are all the major challenges that are being faced by women. they don't have access to land. Sometimes when they have these lands, when their husband died, they could get the land from them. And again, another thing is some women, when they have the male children, when they give them the land, when the male children lived for cities, the families will get the land from them. These are part of the challenges faced by women. Okay, next slide, please. And it has been discovered, why should women own land in Africa? Now, this is the reason. It has been discovered that if women had the same access to productive resources as men do, they will have increased in the yield of farms by like 20 to 20% and reduce in hunger by up to like 17%. And in addition, since women normally plow back profits that they make to their household, therefore, this will help to alleviate poverty from bottom up. Next slide, please. And given that they have vast indigenous knowledge of local plant species, this helped them to provide wide varieties of nutrition. And this means that by limiting women's right to land and other assets, we are denying ourselves the opportunity to increase food production, reduction in hunger, and limiting malnutrition. Please, let's quickly rush. Okay, next slides. Next slides. Now, we really need to bridge the gap between women scientists and smallholders farmers in order to fight hunger and poverty in Africa through women professionals involved in agricultural research. Next slides. Okay, these are part of what we have been doing in order to we give a kind of good agricultural and food processing practices to food processors. And also in VOWDA we are also able to give to give bursary awards to farmers' children. We also help farmers in some other. We pass down information from lab to to farm, and then when you have information from lab to farm, what happened beyond the farm gate? These are all the things that VOWDAs are doing. Please kindly quickly go to the record. Okay, please let's go back. The last slides. Okay, yeah. Conclusion and recommendation. I always say this. I said it yesterday. I say, unfortunately, there are few women scientists in Nigeria, and this is the case across Africa. Although women process and market the majority of African food, and only 1 in 4 agricultural researcher is a female, even fewer than 1/7 of the leadership position in Africa is held by a woman. And if Africa is to feed 2.4 billion people by 2050, because it has been discovered that Africa is going to feed the world by 2050, then we really have to increase our food production by 260%. And to accomplish this, we need the best and brightest mind coming up with food security solution, including the important contribution of women in agricultural scientists. And this has been the major. I always like to lay emphasis on this last conclusion and recommendation. Thank you very much for inviting me here to speak this. To present this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jeff Agbola, for that beautiful presentation. I don't know if Lawal RT and Shoge MO are there. You can signify your presence by raising up your hands.
Let's keep it and go to vote
So
of
then
thanks.
the next person is Karim Keti et al. And the title of the presentation is Land Preparation Methods and Cropping System, Effect on Maize Viral Diseases. By way of introduction, maize is a cereal crop utilized by both rural and urban communities.
It's always good to share yourself.
Okay, thank you. Maize has been utilized for different purposes. It can be used for producing infant formulas. It can be used for producing livestock feeds, poultry feeds. It can be cooked and eaten. It can be roasted. It can be fermented to produce pap, popularly known as ogi. Despite the importance of maize its production is affected by biotic and abiotic factors. One of the biotic factors affecting maize production is virus. So for the purpose of this presentation, I'll be talking on two viral diseases of maize, which are maize streak virus and maize stripe virus. The objectives of this study are to, one, compare two methods of land preparation, which slash and burn and herbicide application on viral disease incidence and virus titer. Then to also compare cropping systems, two cropping systems, which are intercropping and sow cropping on viral disease incidence and titer. Methodology. Maize variety ART98-SW1, popularly known as Oloyin, was obtained from the Maize Improvement Program, Institute of Agric Research and Training, Ibadan. And the location for the experiment are Ibadan, Ile-Ife, and Ilora. The experiment was laid out using randomized complete block design with spacing of 75 centimeter by 25 centimeter. The factors used are land preparation methods, which are slash and burn and herbicide application, as well as cropping systems, which include intercropping and monocropping. Viral incidence was determined by expressing the number of diseased plants per plot with the total number of plants per plot. Then the viral titer was determined by using enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay known as ELISA to determine the concentration of single and mixed infections of MSV, which is maize streak virus, and maize stripe virus in maize. Results. This plate shows the symptoms induced on maize disease by maize streak virus, maize stripe virus, and the plate here also shows the reaction of viruses to antigen coated plate ELISA. Table 1 shows the effect of land preparation methods on single and mixed infection of maize streak virus and maize stripe virus in 3 locations during 2015 and 2016 planting season. Result shows that in 2015 there was no MSV infection, while in this same 2015 the maize stripe infection was only observed at Ile-Ife. There was no mixed infection in 2015. In 2016, in all the locations, maize streak virus was present, while maize stripe virus was absent in all the locations during 2016. There was no mixed infection in 2016. Looking at the effect of cropping system on single and mixed infection by the 2 viruses in 2015 and 2016, there was no infection of MXV in all the locations in 2015. In 2015, maize stripe virus was present only in Ile-Ife. Then in 2016, MSV was present in all the locations, with Ilora having the highest concentration. There was no MSTV infection and there was no mixed infection. The table 3 shows the influence of land preparation methods on maize virus incidence, and results show that the incidence was lower in 2015 compared to 2016. Also, looking at the effect of cropping system, results show that the incidence of MSV in 2015 was lower than those of 2016. And in 2016, Ibadan, in which sow cropping was carried out, had the highest virus incidence. Conclusion. Disease control in plants is determined by many factors, including cultural practices, climate, virus strains, and the host plant. Slash and Burn controlled MSV in 2015 but not in 2016. This could be linked to the weather condition experienced in 2016. Sow cropping encouraged the spread of disease in plant population. Disease-resistant breeding is encouraged for improved production of maize. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can please drop your question in the chat box. Then all the slides presented would be on the VOWDA website at www.thevowda.org. You can please log in. There will be membership forms there for everyone to fill to be a part of VOWDA, so as to be cognizant or so as to know what we do. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for staying with us right from yesterday till now. Would have a vote of thanks by the head of communications of the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture, IITA, here in Ibadan, Dr. Catherine Lopez. Dr. Catherine Lopez, please, the vote of thanks. Thank you so much, ma.
Hello, afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good afternoon, Dr.
Okay.
Kat. Yes.
Afternoon. Yeah. I'm waiting for. Okay, so the video is on as well. So yeah. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're now at the end of this exciting 2-day Women in Agriculture Symposium organized by VOWDA, the Voice of Women in Development of Agriculture, and IITA. So this is partly to mark the International Day of Rural Women, like some of our colleagues have mentioned. So in the past 2 days, we have had very interesting and lively discussions about the gender gap and some of the challenges faced by women in the various sectors, whether it's the academe, in research, the farm, in business, in civil society. So we've also heard a lot of inspiring stories from some of our colleagues and peers who have had to overcome odds to succeed in their chosen profession. So we've heard the stories from farmer Oloy, chocolatier Moji, and some of our other colleagues, agripreneurs, and the award fellow Moji as well. And we've also heard encouragement and affirmation from many of our colleagues participating in this symposium about the need to support each other, and how institutions like IITA, for example, or donor organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or women leaders and influencers like perhaps Dr. Rhoda Peace, Vicky Wild, Yemisi, and all our VOWDA colleagues, and countless women who are part of this forum now are supporting the women's programs and gender affirmation support initiatives. So we realized that based on what we had been hearing, there's still a lot to be done in this area, and that we should continue to make sure that we push others to recognize the role and importance of women in development in agriculture and in transforming agriculture. So, and also that we have a very important role to play in making sure that we help support and build the capacity of women, because like all of us have been saying, we are critical in the agriculture transformation of Africa. Okay, so with that, let me say a big thank you to the local organizing committee and sponsors, all our keynote speakers, our commentators, our panelists, and participants for all the insightful advice, the helpful discussions, the useful comments, and very dynamic participation in the past 2 days. So we need to be continuing these conversations, in various forums to make sure that our voices are heard as women and women supporters. And that, of course, we've mentioned it, that policies are passed to help strengthen women's participation and roles to ensure food and nutritional security, and that all of us continue to do our part. Let me also thank IITA management for their support of this activity. So Dr. Ken Bashir have been really very supportive since the beginning. And let me also thank IITA colleagues. If I may mention the communication office team for their logistical support of the meeting, but also all our VOWDA colleagues for their support behind the scenes, okay, to ensure that we come up with a very relevant and impactful symposium. Of course, the learnings and the notes from this meeting will be shared with everybody by VOWDA through the website and some of the other materials. And of course, let me also thank VOWDA for once again opening up the communication lines and discussion forums on this topic. We hope that all of us will continue to support VOWDA and any effort that each of us, as part of this community of practice or of this affiliation with all the women and men also in this group, to support and strengthen the programs to build capacity of women in the various areas of agriculture. Because we know that every little bit counts to make sure that we succeed. So once again, thank you everyone for the support for the symposium, and please let's continue the conversation in many other forums. So with that, thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Taki. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Don't forget, please kindly download the VOWDA membership form on our website at www.vowda.org. Now we'll be having the closing remark and the next line of action from the president of VOWDA, Dr. Yemisi Jeff Agbola. But before that, thank you for staying. I was your moderator, Badmus Amina Homodolapo of VOWDA, and from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Nigeria. Thank you so much. Dr. Yemisi Agbola, please give the closing remark.
Okay. Thank you so much. We really thank everyone, and I would like to add my own voice to that of Kati for the vote of thanks. I want to really appreciate the high team management, most especially Dr. Dashi Kentoy, the Deputy Director General Partnership for Delivery, IITA, for hosting this important event, and also special thanks to all the local organizing team, including the communication unit of IITA and also the VOWDA team. I also want to appreciate all the speakers, the panelists, and everyone who have participated for their insightful and heartfelt contributions. Your presence, your voice, and support show a strong readiness and willingness and commitment that the time to feed Africa has arrived. And this is a clarion call to everyone, not only to women, but also to all the other gender group. There are so many challenges faced by women in agriculture, and we have been told that we have enough challenges. But it's high time we start focusing on our strengths as women to make agriculture very attractive and sexy for the youth. And focusing on our strengths will help us all to achieve all the things we want to overcome. And we're so happy to learn from the interesting discussions we have had and the videos seen at this symposium to commensurate with the World Food Day and the International Day of Rural Women, and with the team capacity building for women in agriculture and smallholders farmers. Our eyes, our ears, and our hearts are full of stories of bravery and hope. And as we have discussed, the close interconnection between women agricultural scientists and smallholders farmers in building sustainable agriculture, this helps us to look forward to a community of women, men, and youth coming together to provide food security solution to our community, our country, and to achieve national food security within a sustainable agricultural framework while pursuing the process of conversion to a market economy. Before I drop the microphone again, let me inform you that the membership form of this organization is available. We are in the process of updating and upgrading our website, but the membership form is available on the website, and because we really need to come together and continue this conversation, as Katie have said. And also, there is going to be feedback form, and then this will be provided to all the participants and all the people that registered with us, and this can help us to improve more in our next symposium, in our next activities. We have so many lineup of activities, and then the feedback form can also be downloaded on the website as well. On this note, I wish you all happy World Food Day and the International Day of Rural Women. Long live Nigeria, long live IITA, and long live VOWDA. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody for participating, for your contribution, for your time. Thank you so much, and we hope we'll be together, stay together. We'll be forces to reckon with as women in agriculture. We'll do our bit, we'll do our part, we'll lift women up, and thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, pictures. We would have loved to. We did yesterday. Please, can you send the yesterday's one?